Harry and Meghan are not moving back to London. I don't think anybody thought that they were, but yet the couple made the claim publicly that no, definitely that is not the case. They are happy in California. But I just don't totally buy it because I feel like for the last week or two, we've had a very, very chaotic PR structure. Despite Harry and Meghan having a massive public relations team, we have the couple having their representatives meet with one solo representative of the palace in London. We also have Harry going to Angola. We have Meghan's show flopping. We have Meghan trying to prove that her show and concept and everything is not flopping. We have Harry cosplaying as his deceased mother in Angola. We have so many things going on, and all of it I feel like is chaotic and clashing, which is not a good public relations strategy. So what is really going on here? I have a couple of ideas, to be quite honest, and I am going to share them with you and give you the lowdown on what I think is going on because we're seeing rumblings more and more, I think, of unrest in Montecito and a couple who are not on the same page. So we are going to get into all these details, but if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany. I do provide compelling royal commentary, so please hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you back. And I do want to say again, I am traveling, so you are not seeing my happy, shiny face, but if you are interested in checking out some of the latest royal news, feel free to check out my ex, RNN_royal news. I also do Instagram, not as much as I should, but I am also on Instagram as well as Royal News Network. So guys, let's go ahead and get into this topic because when I first saw the headline, no, Harry and Meghan are not moving back to the UK, my first thought was, I didn't think they were. I don't think anybody thought that they were. Why even say that? And it almost sort of goes back to this idea that the couple had launched the supposed peace summit. And there's been so much chaos, misinformation, and I think lack of a direction over what actually happened. It allows, you could say, even conspiracy theories to flourish. And I feel like 100% that's what we're seeing. And it goes back to something I've noticed endlessly when it comes to Harry and Meghan's PR efforts, which is that they never seem like they're on the same page. They're wildly swinging from idea to idea, and there's no cohesive social media or media strategy with them. It seems to be dictated by the feelings of the day, which is sort of kind of terrible. Like when you think about Harry and Meghan, do you think of a cohesive unit or chaos? I always feel like chaos because they're seemingly always all over the place. So if we look at the People magazine article talking about the couple and how, oh, no, a source tells the Celebrity magazine, which works directly with celebrities, basically they don't print anything unless the celebrity approves it, said that the couple is very happy living in and raising their family in California. And as it stands, have no plans to leave. Harry will continue to visit the UK in support of his charitable causes and patronages. The meeting was viewed as an olive branch and a possible reopening of lines of communication between father and son who have been estranged for years. It was a good first step, an insider told People exclusively. It is always better to be talking. And to a certain extent, I agree. But why even say that at all? What does exactly that mean? Why do we have a question in the first place? Because I go back to what is a good PR strategy. A good PR strategy is giving people enough information that they feel comfortable with whoever the public figure is, but not giving too much information to the point of you're either violating privacy, you're raising questions that don't need to be raised. And so this whole sort of debacle with the meeting between the two sides, I think is indicative of something where I honestly believe, and I've seen a couple of social media posts, I did a video about it, and I kind of had a walk back thinking maybe I was wrong, but I really do think, I don't really believe Harry and Meghan were behind the leak of the meeting with Buckingham Palace. And I feel like this entire week or so, we've been seeing sort of a trying to rejigger the narrative again because the narrative got out of Harry and Meghan's control. And we see the end result being, again, just chaos. But they are chaos incarnate itself. And I just wanted to go back to and revisit the idea of why does this exist? Why are we seeing a couple that remains I believe, massively divided. They are not on the same page. I don't think they are. And I think the truth of the matter comes to this notion that Harry wants back in and Meghan doesn't. I think we have two people, one man, and we've seen this endlessly, guys, lives entirely in the past, wants to reclaim his former royal glory, and is sort of desperate to regain, I think, the respect, the public affirmation that he had before as a royal. He misses the pomp and ceremony. He misses being the son of the king, the grandson of the queen, and what that meant for his life and what that meant for his children too. I think he desperately misses that. But then you have the wife. And Meghan never really married Harry for Harry. She married him for the prestige that came with marrying a member of the British royal family and what that could mean to her future Hollywood prospects. At least that's always been my opinion. So Meghan at this point in her life is sort of obsessed with both the past and the future. So Meghan is obsessed with, as ever, her show, not really her podcast. Like, she's kind of just obsessed, I think. You could sort of drill it on down to is that Meghan is desperate to make oodles and oodles of cash. Cash is what's driving Meghan Markle at this point and really any point in life and existence. She is obsessed with the money. She wants the money. That is why they're working. That's why they're doing all of this. There is no greater goal here but money. And she is trying to, in some ways, reclaim her former glory with the TIG, which was not that successful in the first place. And all of this together signifies a couple that I think are not on the same page when it comes to essentially anything. And you could glean as well, because we've heard this in multiple People magazine reports. I believe it has been at least one in People magazine, one in others, where Meghan is talking about how she wishes Harry could just let things go. And Harry doesn't want to let things go because Meghan has kind of drummed up this chaotic, this bitter, angry man who is desperate for validation, desperate for revenge, retribution, so many different things. And so he is constantly trying to seek the things that I think she started. She started the thought process in his head, and now he can't turn it off, and she can't help him turn it off. And so we have a couple, and we're getting increasing reports of this. We've gotten reports over a couple years about this at this point, that they're diverging. They're going in two different directions. Harry wants the past. He wants his family. He wants his life in the UK. He misses the UK. And Meghan is like, no, 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 no. I want California, I want Hollywood, I want all these people who would not give me the time of day a couple of years ago to pay attention to me. And she's desperate for their approval and validation. And so you end up with a situation where you have two people who are competing and clashing and not having a shared vision for themselves and their relationship. Because when you think about Catherine and William, they have a very united front in terms of their family, in terms of what it means for the Duchy of Cornwall, their causes, like so many different things. And so you feel that unity with them, even with just even as something as simple as public relations. I don't feel unity with Harry and Meghan. I see chaos. I see a couple who want different things in life. And I think for Harry, in his instance, he wanted certain things in life, and Meghan convinced him that, no, 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 you don't want those things. You want the things I want. And he followed that track. And at some point, you kind of revert back to who you were in some ways. You kind of miss the things that you were told not to miss anymore, and you want them back. And I feel like that is what we're seeing anymore, is Harry and Meghan on definitely two different pages. And this chaotic media strategy, which doesn't seem to have a cohesion to it, is a reflection of a couple in turmoil. Now, we've also had a lot of reports, and interesting, I haven't delved into any of them too deeply, but about their money woes. And I think that is critical to go over as well, because money is one of the most fractious parts of any marriage, is debates over money. conversations over money, fights about money. This is a big deal. And when it comes to Harry and Meghan, they have a lot of money going out and not that much going in. I think somebody said that their yearly expenses are around $4 million or something to that effect. I think I've even said that. Like most of their budget probably falls into like, I would almost say 5 to 10 million is probably what they're living on a year in some ways, because you have a massive mortgage, massive upkeep, you have security costs, you have kids' private schools, I'm sure, and like so many different costs, not to mention Meghan's obscene wardrobe and jewelry collection that she needs to constantly add to. And you add all those things together and you just have money and bank accounts, I think, are constantly being drained to serve the Sussex and particularly Meghan narrative. And so because of that, they are wasting so much. So much is going out and very little is coming in. And when you look at the Netflix situation, I know, again, Sussex stands are like they're trying to make a round peg fit into a square hole because they keep saying, or a square peg fit into a round hole, that, oh, Meghan, she was in the top 5% of Netflix. You know, she was up there, her show. It got 5.2 million or 5.3 million views. That's abysmal considering her footprint, her influence, all those sorts of things. And you're telling me because it's niche, you're excusing her poor performance. I feel like I see excuse after excuse. And the reality remains, Netflix was their biggest cash cow, I think, besides the publishing deal. We have Harry's book. I'm sure those dividends have somewhat started to dry up now. I'm sure he's getting a good royalty check from that. But, you know, the initial push is gone. That was 2 years ago now. But it really was Netflix. And Netflix, although Ted Sandros is seemingly obsessed with Meghan, not really understanding the attraction of Harry and Meghan, which is the car crash. It is the train wreck. People want to see them fail. There's nobody in there wanting them to succeed. And so this idea that there's this huge audience for her is ridiculous. We've proven time and time and time and time again, the audience is small. 5.3 million. Yeah, if I got that for a video, that would be really good. That would be amazing. That would be my best performing video ever. But there are YouTubers who could probably get that number in a day. Meg was on Netflix getting a huge marketing budget on TV shows, and she could still only pull off in 3 months 5.3 million viewers. And half of that came in the first week. That is not impressive. It is not. And when it comes to this Netflix deal, Netflix is going to renegotiate. And that is what's happened across the board in Hollywood. A lot of these mega deals that they signed at the height of the pandemic are dead. They have been renegotiated for much lower amounts because basically none of them were as successful as Netflix was hoping. And this idea that Harry and Meghan are going to get not only the full amount that they were reportedly going to get, $100 million, they're not going to get that. Meghan's show did not perform well. If they are paying the couple upwards of $100 million for content, being almost 400 on the list is crappy. It is a crappy performance. And then you add on to that the couple have no other decent hits at all. Most of them have abysmally tanked, like even so horribly. They barely were a blip on the radar. I actually got more reviews for my reaction to Heart of Invictus than Harry got on Heart of Invictus. And I would imagine if you added up all the YouTubers who gave reviews over Meghan Markle's series, they actually probably got more views than Meghan Markle's series itself. I would almost 100% bet you, because people are more interested in watching the car crash than they are watching them. And because of sort of, you could say, the hatred of Hollywood and how leftist it's become, and some people would disagree with that, but the wokeness has killed Hollywood. They just canceled Stephen Colbert. They canceled it because the show costs $100 million a year, and apparently, according to one report at least, it was losing $40 million a year. Hollywood is contracting. It's renegotiating. It is a dying industry. And Harry and Meghan have attached themselves to a dying industry. And as Netflix is looking to the future, as ever has performed as poorly as I believe it has, because Meghan Markle's not selling as much as she should to try to make it seem more successful than it is, you have a couple who's desperately trying to shelter a sinking ship. And yeah, they might get away with it for a while, but nobody gets away with that forever. They are failing, and at some point the money is going to run out. And that is going to add additional stress. And so I feel like because of everything going on, the chaos, the tension, the stress, the reality that two people with a very different upbringing probably want different things out of life, I think we're seeing a couple who are divided, who are fracturing behind the scenes. Now, I know I've said this before. I know people have said all the time they're divorcing then and now or whatever. I don't have a crystal ball. But what I do know is that I see a lot of red flags here. I see a lot of competing narratives. And some of it is definitely Harry and Meghan driven. It's not just media driven, it's them driven. And that's because I think there are problems. You can't avoid the problems forever. They are there. And I don't know what the future holds for them, but divided, you will fall. And I think that is what's happening right now with Harry and Meghan. But guys, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your patience as we try out a little bit of a new system. If you're not a watcher here too often, it doesn't matter to you, but I like actually being able to smile and show my face. But hopefully we shall be back to our normal scheduled programming very soon. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye.